made it back out to the Golden Trout Wilderness almost 7 years later. We're out here for part dos, a redemption trip. Years ago, this whole area over here by the Blackrock trailhead was completely covered in snow, so they normally close it in the winter time. So years ago in May, we tried to hit up Jordan Hot Springs, but come all the way through Jerky Meadow on the other side of the Kern River. Well, it didn't go as planned. A lot of trials and tribulations, didn't quite make it to the hot spring. So we're out here, it's the end of the season, almost winter time, trying to get one last trip in and see if we can make it all the way down to the springs and do some trout fishing. So hopefully we make it and all goes well. Deuce.
While hiking from the Blackrock trailhead down to the Kern River, there's many items along the way with historical significance, including the actual trail we were walking on. The story begins with a man by the name of John Jordan, who was born in Illinois and made his way down to Texas in 1833, which was still part of Mexico at the time. When he arrived, he followed suit of the Native Americans who made salt in the area and established Jordan's Saline, a salt manufacturing business on the plains of Texas, which still exists today in the same location but is now ran by the giant corporation Morton's Salt. With funds and equipment saved up, in 1850, John Jordan and his wife Eliza were ready for a change. So John captained a wagon train and headed west for California, landing in San Diego for a few months before ultimately ending up in Exeter, California, right outside of Visalia, where John raised hogs and took up mining. During this time, in 1860, Darwin French discovered gold and silver in the Coso Range while searching for the legend of the lost Gunsight Mine. Soon after, many followed when news broke about the discovery, and a road was needed from Visalia to the south of Owens Lake, where the Coso Range lies. In 1861, John Jordan and his son William Jordan filed a petition with the Tulare County Board of Supervisors for permission to build a toll road across the southern Sierras from Exeter, right outside of Visalia, and over the range down to Alancha. With the help of a few other men, they were off. They blazed a trail over Blue Ridge, and all the way over to the Little Kern River, and through Trout Meadows down to Kern Flat, where they crossed the Kern River and headed up 9 Mile Creek, finding the hot springs, continuing to Menachie Meadows and down Walker Creek to Alancha. After successfully blazing the trail, John Jordan went back to Trout Meadows and blazed a northern trail past Kern Lakes, up Golden Trout Creek, through Whitney Meadows and over Wood Cotton Pass down to the Owens Lake. It was during this time Jordan and his crew became some of the first ever non-natives to see the elusive golden trout in its native habitat in this part of the Sierra Nevadas. This beautiful little fish later became the California freshwater state fish in 1947, while in 1978 Congress designated this area the Golden Trout Wilderness after this special species of fish. As the Jordans finalized parts of their trail in May of 1862, making the trail viable for pack stock, they made it to the town of Independence to file completed trail paperwork with the Inyo County seat. On their return trip, they became stuck on the eastern side of the Kern River, near the area known as Kern Flat, due to a swollen Kern River from all the snow runoff. A search party was sent and found the Jordans nearly starved, with low food rations left in their supply. As the rescue party supplied the Jordans with food, they decided to build a log raft and float across the Kern River. Tragedy struck, and the log raft burst into pieces, causing Captain John Jordan to be swept away down the raging Kern River on May 22, 1862, never to be seen again. The Jordan sons had no interest in continuing on with the Jordan Toll Road and let it be. In 1864, the completion of a toll road from San Joaquin Valley to Owens Valley through the Walker Pass put a damper on the Jordan Trans-Sierra Toll Road. The Jordan Trail still exists today, the same trail used to get to the hot springs, providing a step into the past while providing guidance for the future.
We made it a portion of the way down to the springs, stopping here at Casa Vieja Meadows. It's
pretty cool seeing the abandoned cabins and checking them out inside and seeing what's left over. This whole area is still used for cattle grazing today. It's still a public cattle grazing area. So that's kind of cool to see that the remnants of cowboys and cattle still down here. I don't know if they still graze them this time of year, but it's still cool to see that people still use this area. I mean, this area has history dating back to the late 1800s with people cattle grazing, coming out here camping. So pretty cool. It's like walking through a little piece of history, almost like a vault stuck in time. Looking forward to the rest of the hike though. Housekeeping! Housekeeping!
All right, we made it down here to Casa Vieja. This is my third time coming through here. Been to Jordan once, and then another time did a big loop all around the Golden Trout Wilderness with my mom. But it's cool to be back in this area again. It's been a long time. It's been 11 years, so it's almost like new again. I don't know what to say. I sound stupid. Holy shit. Literally.
The cool thing about hiking in the shoulder seasons is kind of the change of colors in the leaves and the temperature. I mean, the weather's perfect. It's like barely 70 degrees. It's a little nippy in the air. Feels perfect. I'm sure tonight's gonna be nice and cold. Get all cozy and snuggly in our hammocks. But the fall foliage color is pretty rad, dude. It's like, some of it's kind of orange, some of it's green. It's right in that middle phase, but it makes for some awesome hiking. It's been beautiful the whole way down. So we're almost to the Jordan Hot Springs. Have maybe a mile left and ready to do this. Finish it out. No?
No, don't start no more.
All right, so we've been here checking out all the cool old historical cabins, and we actually got to talk to this really cool lady named Lynn, who has been coming up here, I don't know, for a really long time, horsepacking. She's been coming up here back when it was still open, back before 1992, when they finally closed down the pack station here, and she told us all kinds of really interesting stories, all about the history here, about the Forest Service and how they're not taking care of things here, and just a bunch of really interesting stuff. So it was really nice to meet her and get to talk to her and to get to just walk around all this stuff. And you can actually walk into all these cabins and just see all the old stuff still in there, the old stoves and sinks and just all kinds of cool stuff that's still out here. Been here since 1890 something when they first came out here, you know. It's really incredible to see all this.
We made it up to the abandoned cabins and buildings up here at Jordan Hot Springs, and it's awesome. It's like a blast from the past. We went in, this is the old general store here. We went into the main lodge right next door, checked it out inside. It's pretty cool with all these old artifacts that are still here, and the buildings are still up. I mean, this area has been ravaged by fires over the years, numerous fires, and all these historical buildings are still up and doing really well considering their age. So it's been awesome to be able to spelunk through here and feel like I'm living way back in the early 1900s. It's awesome.
Jordan Hot Springs Resort is a small backcountry establishment along 9 Mile Creek, which is a tributary of the Kern River. Only remnants exist today, but it still felt like we were transported to the past during the golden era of being an outdoorsman in the backcountry. Prior to John Jordan being led here by Native Americans during his route exploration, the Native Americans used this area near the springs as a seasonal encampment location during the summer months for generations. This area is considered part of the Monache Meadows Sacred Area by the modern Tubatalabo indigenous people. After the discovery by John Jordan and Sons in the late 1800s, this area of the Kern Plateau experienced an increase in migrant Basque sheep herders grazing their sheep from meadow to meadow or wherever the foraging was good. The famous Basque sheep herders, the Gijor brothers, spent their time grazing their sheep all throughout the desert floor and into these mountains. After sheep grazing became illegal due to their destructive behavior on the native flora, cattle grazing in this area became the next popular business and pastime that still continues today. With the sheep herders gone, there were many seasonal cow camps set up in all the neighboring meadows and valleys around the Kern Plateau, and Jordan Hot Springs, aka the Jordan Junction, became the hub of social, economic, and cultural activities for this area for close to 100 years. During the 1890s, it's been documented that the first log cabin was erected, built with logs from the surrounding area. And by 1900, the famed cow camp era took off in full effect. By 1916, an operational telephone line was placed at Jordan Hot Springs by the Forest Service to report and assist in fire detection and suppression by the private business owners and crew who ran the hot springs. The remnants of the telephone line can still be seen today while hiking into the hot springs. Shortly after, a mill was placed at the Jordan Hot Springs camp, which was used to mill wood for cow camp cabins all throughout the area, and even for Forest Service projects like bridges and Forest Service ranger stations. This is an early illustration of the symbiotic relationship which existed at the time between the land management agency and the private resort, which soured many years later. It was about this time in the early 1900s when the great hiking era was in full swing and Jordan Hot Springs became a mecca for vacationers, backcountry hunters and anglers, and locals living out their seasonal cow camps. By this time, it was noted that on any given summer day, there were between 25 or 30 canvas tents set up at Jordan Hot Springs with hunters, miners, loggers, packers, and recreationists enjoying the hot water and nature itself. By the 1930s, airstrips were constructed at neighboring areas such as Tunnel Meadow, Templeton Meadow, and Monache Meadows. These backcountry dirt airstrips were used for hauling in and delivering mail to Jordan Hot Springs, bringing in supplies, and shuttling in recreationists for camping, hunting, fishing, packing, and all the above. There were multiple outfitters that flew people into these airstrips for years, including the famous Bob White flying service that ran out of Lone Pine, California for over 40 years, flying people into the backcountry. Backcountry air service became a vital part in transporting supplies into the backcountry, as well as shuttling people to and from different pack stations. Bob White became a staple in this area and a legend in his own right up until his passing. In 1978, with the establishment of the Golden Trout Wilderness, the Tunnel Meadow Airport was closed to general aviation. However, the air camp remained open, and outfitter flights continued under an annually renewed special use permit until it expired in 1982, since the Forest Service has been known to be increasingly hostile towards any motorized traffic on its land. Throughout these years, the Jordan Hot Springs Resort has been ran by many concession owners who held the permit from the Forest Service to run the business at the cabins. From a Mr. Hal Womack, the first permit holder in 1925, to a Mr. Walter Dow, who was responsible for bringing in a washing machine and sawmill to the hot springs, which saw major cabin construction to the resort, as well as surrounding ranger station cabins. There have been many influential concessionaires that have left their mark, like the Purnell brothers, Elmo and Clarence, who lived in Palm Springs, California, and would spend their summers operating the hot springs resort, as well as make improvements such as adding a generator for electricity and much more.
When I was a little boy, I remember taking summers up in the High Sierras on the ranch, Jordan Hot Springs. Can you tell us about that, when we first got into it?
Oh, that, we bought that in 41. And we went up there every year and spent 3 to 4 months. I'd go for a while and come back, and Elmo and he'd go up and spend some time. And we done that for, well, we were up there 26 years. And then we sold out, but I continue to go up. I've been up there every year since last year. I think was the last year I'll go up though.
Irwin and Alice Burkhart were also influential permit owners who also ran the Sequoia Kings Pack Station of Onion Valley and the Kennedy Meadows Pack Station. Their son, Bob Burkhart, also ran the Jordan Hot Springs Resort for many years and was known for his kindness and attentiveness to guests before the Quinns took over the permit. After the Quinns, the last permit eventually landed with Jim and Julie Porter in 1985. The Porters were the last official concessionaires that ran the Hot Springs Resort and Pack Station until the 1990s, when the Forest Service decided to revoke all permits from any future use at Jordan Hot Springs Resort and Pack Station. After revoking all use permits, the Forest Service had plans to maintain and take care of the Pack Station, but that never materialized and instead preferred to tear down all the structures like they did in many of the neighboring meadows in the surrounding area. This sent local horsepackers and outdoor recreationists into a frenzy, which led for a push to get a historical evaluation done in order to save this spot from destruction. Fortunately, Jordan Hot Springs was given a historical site designation to preserve its history and influence. Although one small win for history lovers and backcountry enthusiasts, the Forest Service refuses to maintain any structures at the Hot Springs site and has forbidden anyone from maintaining or providing any upkeep to the site as well. For now, Jordan Hot Springs' historical future remains uncertain, but the memories of this area will last forever.
Last night was amazing. There was tons of constellations and stars out. There was a handful of shooting stars happening like every 30 minutes, it seemed like. We ended up soaking last night in the hot spring till almost 10 p.m. Didn't want to get out because it was too warm and it was too cold out. The temperature dropped down to around 37 at night, but we were nice and toasty in the hammocks with all our stuff. Derek ended up moving to the ground, sleeping on the floor, but woke up, had some breakfast, had some coffee. We're gonna get our fishing poles ready, head down to the Kern River, do some trout fishing, and head back up for another soak under the stars tonight.
Absolutely beautiful. Oh my gosh, look at that guy. Wow.
We got a Kern River rainbow. Beautiful fish.
On our way back up to the Kern River, we stopped at the 200-foot waterfall. This thing is awesome. It's freaking amazing. It's like this little private gorge that's freaking secluded, it's hidden. This is awesome. This is definitely worth the off-trail excursion. On our way back to camp, we got a couple miles left. Forgot to bring our headlamps, so we're trying to get back before nightfall. Still have a couple hours. It was a great day. Caught some fish, met some cool people. Now let's get back and get to soaking, and hopefully we're back before nightfall, because this trail is horrible. This trail the whole way down to the river was non-existent. It disappeared. It was horrible due to the last fires that were out here. It totally decimated the whole trail, and no one's been out here to maintain it. So we're trying to get back before nightfall.
Once we made it back to camp, we reflected on our attempt to reach the hot springs from the opposite side of the Kern River 7 years ago. We were amazed at the seasonal spring water flow and had high hopes of making it until reaching 9 Mile Creek. The creek is normally nothing but a small tributary, easily crossed by rock hopping or getting your toes wet. 7 years ago, it was a raging river with nothing but certain death if attempting to cross. The whitethorn was abundant, and dead and down were bountiful, which prevented any cross-country action. Today we got our do-over, easily crossing 9 Mile Creek and soaking all our problems away under the night sky.
Well, I slept better last night than the first night. Didn't seem quite as cold. And I was able to stay in my hammock, so that was nice.
Just got done fishing here at Casa Vieja Meadows, and we both just got skunked. Saw a bunch of the little tiny golden trout swimming up and down the little stream, but they're super skittish, super scared. Really hard to do fishing in here, but oh well, we'll try next time. Until then, we're gonna keep climbing out of here and head home.
Then you start to live. And here we go, running through the meadow on our back, nothing but our clothes tonight.
Well, we did it, and that was nothing short of epic. That was such an awesome trip. I mean, everything from the hot springs to the cabins to the plains to fishing. I mean, what a rad trip. So, onwards and upwards, getting ready for the next one.